Hi, everybody. This is the last lesson for 338. It has been my honor to be your instructor this semester, and I wanted to just take a few minutes to give you some final thoughts.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome? This is a goodbye video.
Oh. Farewell, farewell, farewell. And may the odds...
No, not yet, Effie, not yet. I'm just getting started on my goodbye video for my students.
There's no need to be rude.
Oh, I'm sorry, Effie. I didn't mean to be rude. I just, I wanted to leave my students with a few parting thoughts for the course.
Clearly you need my assistance in more ways than one.
Wow. Okay, Effie, if you want to help, you can help. I've just got a few things I want students to keep in mind as their takeaways.
Takeaways from gourmet restaurant. Which one?
No, Effie. I mean, some final thoughts, some like ideas to keep in mind when you leave the class and you forget all about the Golden Age and New Realism and Young Adult Lit and Hutchins' adaptation theory.
Oh, well. You shouldn't have brought it up if you didn't have anything to offer. It's only polite for a host to offer a guest a little bit of refreshment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Effie. I guess I'm a terrible host to someone who crashed my video without being invited. But yeah, I'm a bad host. So the first sort of takeaway that I want to stress and that I hope you'll remember when you leave this class is that all texts send messages. Whether their authors intended it or not, whether they were made for just entertainment or not, whether they were made to be children's literature, all texts send messages, period. They all communicate ideas.
Why is it so bad if texts communicate messages? I communicate with District 12 all the time.
No, it's not good or bad. I'm not saying it's good or bad, just that it's true. Effie, did you change clothes while I was talking?
One can't wear the same outfit for the entire video.
Okay. All texts are always communicating messages to us. So if we don't stop and notice the messages once in a while, if we don't interrogate them or analyze them, then we are more likely to internalize them without realizing it. Some ideas we may want to internalize, right? But other ideas we may not want to internalize. But until we actually analyze the text, we can't make that choice, right? It would just happen without us. It would just be
I don't want anything to happen without me involved.
Being involved. Look, I don't blame you, Effie. What I recommend to students is to be resistant readers. In other words, think about and question and challenge everything that you read. Right? It's especially important with children's literature as children haven't necessarily been taught to question things. Sometimes we teach children to be obedient, but we also need to teach people to be critical thinkers, right? So analyzing texts, thinking about what message is this text actually sending, that's important. That helps us then decide whether we want to internalize or accept that message or whether we want to reject it.
Textual analysis sounds so very first rebellion.
Well, yeah, education is often connected to learning to critique or resist power structures.
Oh no, here we go.
Okay, I'll move on to the next point. My second point is that children's literature is a relatively new phenomenon in the history of humanity. Children's literature reflects human culture. The things that we design, especially for children, help reveal the way that we think of childhood and what we think is important for children. People, for example, argue about how much children should be exposed to things like violence or sexuality or drugs. Like, what's appropriate for children? Children's literature is one of the voices in that debate. And the way that we conceive of children changes over time. Right now, they have protected legal status in our country, right? As well as an ideological position that's special. Like, children are treated differently under the law in most cases than adults are. Children have different status. They're treated differently for tax purposes, et cetera, et cetera. And ideologically, we think of them differently too. We think of them differently in terms of what they should be exposed to or have access to compared to adults. But children face the exact same challenges of privilege that adults face. Children aren't exempt from that. And that's one of the things that New Realism
children have it so easy. There's not even a reaping.
Yes, you're right that there is no literal reaping in our culture, thank goodness. But children, and especially poor children, do bear a disproportionate burden whenever there are problems in our society. That's not an official reaping, but children are at risk whenever our social safety net breaks down, right? They are the ones that end up getting hurt most often. Hunger Games just makes that literal. So this is why we need the mirrors and the windows in our literature. We need to make space for everybody if we don't want to end up in a world where only one group of people, like your capital, gets to decide how everybody else lives because they have more money than everybody else.
Even I joined the second rebellion in Panem. Dreadful fashion in District 13.
That's right. Even you joined in the resisting the tyranny of your leaders. On a lighter note, the last thing that I hope you, my students, will remember, and this is really the main thing, if you remember nothing else from this class, the absolute most important thing that you can take away from this course is, wait for it, reading is fun.
That's it. That's a little anticlimactic, wouldn't you say?
No, it's not anticlimactic. Reading is fun. It has a million other benefits also. It helps your brain. It generates empathy. It increases your IQ. It helps you communicate. The benefits are myriad. Reading helps you in every single area of your life. But it's also fun. So just read stuff. It doesn't matter what you read. You can read comics. You can read children's books. You can read YA books. You can read digital literature. You can read experimental poetry. You can only read Shakespeare. You can read slam poetry. You can read Reader's Digest. You can read magazines. Anything that's like 2 pages or over, right? Read it. Read it all. It doesn't matter what you read. Just read. Enjoy your summer and stay safe. And I hope to see many of you, some of you, again next academic year.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.